You guys have some kind of engaging questions to kind of make it practical. Because even though we're both same church, same diocese, same religion, same region, Southern California, you guys can all have different types of lives. Even the people in the same church can have different types of lives. And so having an understanding of what it is that you're going through daily, spiritually, and we'll talk about what that means spiritually, will give me an understanding where I can address it more. So Abuna told me, living the resurrection, in the light of the resurrection, I have this thing I do in the sermons on Sundays when I say Christos or Christ is risen and no one says anything. I make them all literally like each person say it, because I know it's awkward. I know some people get awkward. Oh, we're not those people. We have to say Christ is risen, truth is risen. We sound weird. But in reality, oh, you're going to record me, huh? So I have to behave myself. In reality, it's a proclamation of who you are, right? It's a proclamation of what you are doing. It's a proclamation. It's not just fun that we put nice white flags and we eat whatever we want, anytime we want, all day long. It's a proclamation of our faith. And we're going to get into why that's important for someone to say Christ is risen or Christianity, whatever, however you want to say it, in whatever language you want to say it. And so for us, there's a practice, actually, if you ever come to a funeral, there's a practice, an ancient practice in the funeral. I know usually people are crying and ripping their clothes and pounding their chest, but actually there's a practice, a Christian practice, that you say in funeral, or Christ is risen in funeral, to give condolences to the family, saying, this is just a departure, it's not an end. So for me, the point I want to focus on in living the resurrection, it's a little bit silly, but it gets you thinking a little bit. In the sense, I did this a few weeks back with some of my youth, the congregation in the college, and graduates in engaging them a little bit. Because obviously, as Abuna, as you guys are involved, I'm involved in people's lives. So sometimes people will text me, and obviously before Lent, you had, hopefully, before Lent, you had Lent rules. You had a new way of approaching Lent, a new practices for Lent. And so usually some of those youth who, after Lent is over, they'll text me, music, right? Or I can eat meat on Wednesday. I can watch whatever I want to watch. And so they're excited. Like, Abuna, I can't believe I went in, played whatever song, and that song was amazing, right? Because they're excited to now go from fasting to not fasting. They're excited to listen to music. They're excited to eat whatever they want. So I told them, this is exactly what the resurrection represents. Keep in mind, before Christ's resurrection, before his death and then resurrection, people, you could have had feasts, you could have had weddings, you could have had parties, you could do whatever you did, but there's still a problem of death, right? You knew once you died, no one knew what happened after death. Everyone knew you just ended up in Hades, and this is why actually in the Jewish culture, a woman that's barren was considered cursed because the person's name couldn't live on. Somehow in the Jewish tradition, if you have a son, you will live on. Somehow in their mind, that was, you will live on. And so that's why to them, it was like, death was such a big issue. So there was never satisfaction, there was never joy, right, in anything. So they had parties, but then they're like, yeah, but we're still gonna die, right? It was like so morbid. And so when Christ died and resurrected, there's actually a teaching, St. Pope Kyrillos Tadros actually wrote this in one of his journals. It's a meditation, it's not dogma, it's just a small meditation, saying that on the day that Christ resurrected, people started noticing their loved ones who have died, prophets and holy people walking around Jerusalem. They start seeing things happen, apparitions. They start seeing something different. Those who got baptized and received the water and the Spirit, all of a sudden had this sense of joy. And so for us, we try to mimic that every single year in Lent and in the Holy 50. Lent is about abstaining, taking something away, living in agony, living in, it's called cutting season for those who work out. You cut everything out, right? You're trying to grow spiritually. You're trying to understand what is my life about. And then when the Holy 50 comes, you're enjoying these things in the resurrection, right? You're able to enjoy music again. You're saying, I enjoy music because Christ resurrected. I enjoy the food on Wednesday, the piece of meat on Wednesday, because Christ resurrected. And so this is exactly the point of the resurrection. The point of resurrection, the point of the Holy 50 is not so we can all gain weight back and go crazy and re-download all the social media apps. It's to say, I'm able to live this life knowing that the biggest problem in my life, which is death, which is hopelessness, helplessness, darkness, has been resolved. So this is why it's very important for any Christian, right, to say Christ has risen. At a point in my life, I was privileged to meet a holy person before my priesthood, and trying to see if this priesthood is for me and God's calling or not. I got to sit with this holy person, an elder, and this spiritual person had many gifts. And one of the gifts, he can read minds, he can kind of like senses you, he's inspired by the Holy Spirit. So obviously I came with a nice long list of questions and problems, and I'm looking for like play by play. And then every time I talk to this person, he just smiles at me. He's like, "Jesus inisti," and I'm like, "Okay, cool. So maybe he doesn't want to answer this one." So I go to the next problem, "Jesus inisti," and he's like, and I was getting really annoyed. I'm like, "Okay, this is not gonna work. I need information." But he can sense my anger. He can sense my agitation. And the lesson he was trying to teach me is that he's like, whatever I say to you, it's not going to matter because you don't understand that the greatest problem has been solved. The greatest problem has been solved. So if you're talking about, imagine like, hypothetically, I'm a billionaire and I adopt you as a son or as a daughter, and then you're worried about an electric bill, or worried about a phone bill, worried about a car bill, or your loans. If I'm a billionaire, what's $500,000 loan? Nothing, right? And so he's trying to tell me is that in God's eyes, he solved the problem of death. So your little problem, your issue, in God's eyes is actually a nice small electric bill. It's nothing. So he's trying to teach me, if you want to hear God's voice, you have to know who God is. And so in my hopes, the second point I'll touch later on, the first point is know why we say Christ is risen, know why we're living the resurrection, know why we have the Holy 50. Know why you actually have joy in the things you're doing. Know why you're not fasting. It's not just to go party. It's just to say life has a different taste. This is the church's wisdom trying to get us to understand what the people felt 2,000 years ago. Guys, Christ didn't resurrect 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. He resurrected 2,000 years. So we're trying to learn what they felt. And so the challenge for us is that we already have the resurrection. But if we abstain, if we struggle, if you feel tired during Lent, right? If you take away social media, take away movies, take away entertainment, take away gossiping, take away your favorite sin, take away every other thing, you're living in a struggle, you're living hungry, you're living poor, right? You're unsure. And when the resurrection comes, you indulge, you engage, not in the negative stuff, but you indulge in the entertainment. You enjoy music again, saying, yes, my dad made music. God created music. God created entertainment. God created food for my enjoyment in the resurrection. So the living the resurrection is knowing anything that you do today is in the light of the resurrection. So why did I say this? Because the next problem that many of you may face in this age, criteria in, is this existential understanding of life. Who am I? What is the point of life? What is this? Why does this all matter? And so when anyone comes to me and says, Abuna, I want to become more spiritual, I want to get more holy, I read the Bible, I tell my honest, I don't know how to do that. But I'll tell you two things that you need to answer for yourself. Is who is he to you, he meaning Christ, who is he to you, and who you are to him. Two questions. Who is he to you, and who you are to him. So if my wife is standing next to me, she's my wife, we are one, and I'm her husband. Simple, right? So if I know this is my wife, I know there's certain rules to this relationship. I conduct myself in a certain way, right? And regardless, no matter what it is, we stay within that parameter. And so for us as Christians, if you're trying to become more spiritual, you're trying to become whatever it is you're trying to become, is you have to understand, well, what is this spirituality? What is this Bible you're trying to know? What is this God you're trying? Who is he to you, and who you are to him? And so this is my hope today, to answer those, help you start the process of answering those two questions. Obviously, it's not going to happen overnight. It's a process, and it's a process that I encourage you to obviously have with a spiritual father or father of confession or a spiritual guide, and it can be your BFF. right? It can't be someone your same age as you or someone with the same problems as you, right? Because it's like blind leading the blind. You need to find someone who has established himself or herself in a way that you can kind of follow. So for us today, in the light of the resurrection, if I ask you who he is to you, are you going to answer that in a real way? Or are you going to just say, give me the Sunday school answer, this is God, God is love, God is good, right? Or are you going to say, yeah, he's my lover, he's my best friend, he's my dad, he's my teacher, he's my master. Because how do you refer to God, right? I often joke around, don't feel bad, I say I have daddy issues. So growing up, me and my dad didn't always bumped heads. So to me, Christ is a dad, right? So for me, in my life, when I struggled with faith and being disconnected from the church, is because I projected my issues onto Christ. So for me, Christ is dad, Christ is Baba. So I refer to Christ as dad, as Abba, right? And so who is he to you? Is he a friend, right? Do you have issues with friends? Is he a spouse? Is he a lover? Maybe you have issues in your relationship, or you can't find a relationship that's worthwhile for you, because it's not weird to consider Christ as a lover. It's not weird to sing love songs to Christ. That's actually, intimacy is made for that way, to be intimate with Christ. It's not weird to envision yourself laying on the chest of Christ or getting a hug from Christ. That's not weird, right? Anything that's intimacy in a healthy way, Christ created. The devil takes it and makes it weird in this modern world, but for us is intimacy. So is he a lover? Is he a friend? Is he a dad? Is he a teacher? Is he a master? It's those who like to be like disciplined, those who like to be like yelled at, and those who like to have like a teacher, right? Is he a master? Because when you refer to Christ as a master, we're not referring to in the sense that we understand master like master and a slave. No, it's a term of endearment, like a mentor, like a professor. I know sometimes people struggled in my youth. It was like, do we have to say master? It sounds so weird, like we're his slaves. Like, no, master, like if you go to someone's school of thought, they become what? Your master. They become your teacher. So is he your teacher? Is he your master? Right? What is he to you? So you have to answer that. You have to make it real. You have to make it practical. Otherwise, come to church, to read the Bible, just to read the Bible is good. You'll check off a mark, but there will be no depth. So there's two ways you can go to heaven. Some people come and tell me, I just do the right thing because I'm afraid of hell. And so I don't want to go to hell, so I'll just do the right thing. And some people tell me I want to do the right thing because I love God. Both get you the same reward, right? But one has more of a meaning today, on earth today, right? One has more an exciting thing, right? And I'm sure you've seen this in your lives, at school, in your professional lives, of those who work. The people is like, oh, I don't care about my job. I just come in, clock out, so I can just get paid. You're like, yeah, well, that's how you can get a paycheck that way, but like, you're probably like not doing your job correctly, right? Or you're probably harming so many people, right? Or those who are in schools, like, yeah, I don't care about the A. I just want to come in, just get the credits and get it done with. And so there's a different way of conducting yourself. So your spiritual life is life. Don't separate your spiritual life from life. Because what happens is people are like, Abuna, okay, so this is my normal life. How can I improve my spiritual life? I'm like, I don't know how to help you because you're separating them. Your spiritual life is life. And so this is why you're here today. You're around these four walls. You're saying you believe in something here. Well, even if you're here for whatever reason, just to have a friend, this provides something for you. And you have to know what that is. So who he is to you and who you are to him. So this is the first question. We answered it by, what is he as a role to you? We said dad, friend, brother, sister, whatever. What is he to you? Because he's the bridegroom. Right? I know we refer to Christ as male, but Christ is a being. Because he was the only begotten. He took form of man from St. Mary, but the Trinity is being. So what is the Trinity to you? Right? And the second question, which we're going to engage into now, is who you are to him. Are you a slave? Are you someone that just has to give him money for the church? Are you a rule follower? What are you to him? Right? Are you someone like is just afraid to go to hell, so you're just going to obey by the rules? Because if you see Christ as a dad, but you're not treating him as a dad, and you're not seeing yourself as a son, then there's a problem in the formula, right? There's a problem in the formula. This is why any Christian, I kind of used to make fun of my mom for doing this a lot, who like, they scream in the funeral and they freak out, the death. I'm like, there's a problem in this formula. If you're a Christian and you're saying Christos Anisti, you shouldn't be freaking out. Yes, be sad. You miss your loved ones, right? It's sad that loved ones are no longer with us here physically. But if you're not able to get your mind to see them spiritually, there's a problem. There's an issue in the formula. You don't believe what you say you believe in. And so for us today, if you're saying he's my friend, beautiful. Are you a friend back? Or are you just afraid of your friend? Or you think your friend is just a mean judge who's sitting up there, who doesn't care, who allows bad things to happen, right? So what is he to you? And are you being that back? Because if you're going to affirm to us dad, you better act like a son and a daughter. And I'm not saying like you have to be like perfect, like come, like many of you guys who have a good relationship with your family, even if you don't, you get in their face. Like, obviously, like you get into a relationship. And so this is what I want you guys to understand. Because coming to God, because actually I've been running into a lot of youth lately. It's a trend. Youth who grew up in the church did the right thing for the sake of doing the right thing, because mama said so, because Baba said so. They were good deacons, whatever it is. And then now they're like, I don't even know who God is. Right? There's no depth. And now they want to rebel. And now one issue, they didn't get the school acceptance, they didn't get the job, they didn't get the girl, they didn't get the guy. And now it's like World War III and they want to rebel. Where is this God? So for you, if you're in there, we can address it. If you're not, and you're going to be there, we can address it. If you're in a different realm, we can address it. The addressing is the solution is the same. Who is he to me? Because I can guarantee you one thing. Saint Monica in all her glory, the patron of this church. Saint Benub in all of his glory. Saint Pope Kyrillos in all of his glory. Saint Mina, any saint in all of their glory, they did nothing for God. They added nothing to God's glory or honor. And any sinner, the woman that loved much, the right-hand thief, took nothing from God. So that's why he says, let them come and touch me. He's like, so what I'm trying to tell you is, God doesn't care about your perfect life. He doesn't want you to be a perfect life. He doesn't want you to fast really well, and he doesn't want you to do 1,000 matanyas, and he wants you to know that you have essence, that you're just not a random piece of blob walking around the earth. You actually have designed perfectly. You have essence. You have value. I've been meditating a lot on this lately because it's been consuming my mind since Holy Week for Adam and Eve. I know we like to blame Eve, but Adam actually takes the fall for this. When the serpent, I'm sorry for Gabby, it's going to sound redundant. For the serpent, when he told Eve, God surely doesn't want you to eat of this fruit lest you become like God. How's that a lie? When he told Eve, God doesn't want you to eat from this fruit because he doesn't want you to become like him. How's that a lie? We all know it's a lie because we've all been taught. He deceived Eve. How's that a lie? How's it a lie? How's it a lie what he told Eve? Don't be trying to get it wrong. Raise your hand. How do you lie to Eve? How is that a lie? And those who came with me from the back, they can't cheat. Don't raise your hand. How is that a lie? How did Eve get deceived by the devil when he told her, God doesn't want you to eat of this fruit because if you eat of this fruit, you'll become like God. Beautiful. Look at that. I like this. Usually no one gets it right. That's good. Yes, that's a lie. Because if you read a few verses beforehand, he said, I gave Adam and Eve everything that I have, and everything that I own, they own. And all my image and likeness, my logic, is in them. So if Adam and Eve were paying attention, they would have said what? This guy's lying. This serpent, even though it's a weird serpent talking, right? But he's also saying not factual things. Because Eve would have said, wait a minute, I know I have power over creation. Watch, I can make you do whatever I want. Because literally, a few verses before, he told them what? This is the earth, it's yours, mend it, name the animals, line them up if you want, make them all jump, and just do whatever you want to do. Take care of each other, be fruitful, multiply. And so this is what the devil does in your own personal life. He comes and says, You think God cares about you? Do you know, have you done, have you said? You don't know anything about theology, you don't know anything about spirituality, you don't know anything about hymns. You have done this, you have done that, you have done that. And he gives you these lies that we start to entertain, and then this is why for anyone who said, oh, if I was Adam and Eve, I would not sin, you do it today. Because we have what Adam and Eve have. We have the Spirit back, we have power we have authority over the devil, but yet we still listen to him. He says, you have no value, you have no authority, you don't matter, and this God that you like, look at him. And then we start to say, you know what, you're right. Yeah, like if I went to the church, all the tons would shake their head and snap their fingers at me and whatever it is. Like, I don't know how it is here, but in our church, our tons are very ferocious. And so, oh my God, I told you I'm going to get myself in trouble. And so for you, you start listening. And if you start listening, then you're just like Adam and Eve. You don't know your value. You don't know your essence. So that's why the second thing is God says, yeah, it's beautiful that you want to learn the Bible and get to know me. It's beautiful that you want to fast for me. It's beautiful that you want to pray. But these things do nothing for me. They help you get a little closer to me. What I want you to know, one thing is that you are my son, you are my daughter. You are my son, I inherited you. I adopted you. I created, I give you life. Heck, I even died for you. Because when I looked at humanity and I saw you guys want to do this to me, I said, sure, no problem. My kids, love them, I'll die for them. And so this is what you need to focus on in your life. Because if this is missing, I can guarantee you can read the Bible from cover to cover 10 times a day, you'll gain nothing. If you don't know this, because there'll be an issue in the formula. If you don't know your essence, you can do all the matanyas, you can fast all the fasts, you can recite all the hymns, you can recite all the verses, all the psalms, but you would not know who you are. And this was the problem with the Pharisees. The Pharisees knew the law, knew everything, but when it came to the actual issue of recognizing the Messiah, they had no clue who was in front of them. Even though, if you study Scripture, Christ was using words they would know. Sometimes we're confused, but they should not have been confused. He was using triggering words. Right? He was using triggering words. Like imagine I come and tell you, hey, we're going to do this whatever party or event surprise for Abuna. When I say, like, Batman, that go in the room and we're all going to, do you like Batman? We're going to go in the room and surprise him. So when I come up to you and say Batman, for those who know, go in the room. We're about to surprise him. And so when he came and he said certain words, certain scriptures, he fulfilled all. He's like, if you know Moses, I'm speaking to the sound like Moses is speaking. They did not know because they were focused on what? Their self-problem. So maybe many of us here don't care for pride and don't care to be like Pharisees, but I can guarantee you 99% of you have self-pity, right? And self-pity is pride. We're like, woe is me, my life sucks, right? I can't get this, I can't get this, I can't get this job, I can't get this girl, I can't get this guy, I can't get this is the number one issue you have is relationships, right? I can't get this, and come see me about marriage, I'll tell you how lovely marriage is. I can't get this job, I can't get this acceptance, I can't get this degree, I can't get something. And so you forget what the point is of the spirituality. And so when God comes in front of you, like, yeah, where is this God? He doesn't care. So again, the two questions is, who is he to you and who you are to him? Because if you are a son, if you're a daughter, if you're a child, if you are a friend, if you're a lover, act according and know what he says about these things. And so this is the main topic or the main point I want to make today. He's saying, I care for you more than you think. I've given you words. Sometimes when people come, and that's okay to question, it's more than okay to doubt the faith. It's more than okay to doubt God. But those who come in arrogance, try to disprove to me God, I'm like, listen, you're probably smarter than me. I'm not going to win this argument. But like, it's funny that you're trying to use words that were given to you to dispute the Creator. Think about this. The creation is trying to use the creation to dispute the Creator. It's silly. And so this is why we're taught you don't know everything. And so it's okay to be scandalized by the world. It's okay to look around you in the world and say, you know what, like, yeah, there's a lot of bad things happening in the world, and Christians who are supposed to be Christians are not Christians, and atheists are supposed to be bad people are actually good people. I'm confused. But Christ is like, don't worry, everything makes sense. Just know one thing. I actually care for you. Like when I died on the cross, I saw you. Last year, I was inspired by my sermon for Great Friday by my daughter. My daughter, she's 5 now, but when she was 4 years old last year, she asked me a question. I'm like, why would you ask that as a 4? She looks at me, she's like, and she was looking at the crucifixion. She was like, Daddy, what did Christ see when he was up there? I'm like, what? I'm like, what did he see? What did Christ see when he was up on the cross? I'm like, what the heck? What are you getting this from? I asked, like, Emma, why are you asking this? Like, I'm just wondering, what did he see? Because he's looking. I never noticed that Christ is looking or gazing when I look at the crucifixion. She's like, he's looking. So I started meditating. And the response I got internally was, he saw humanity. He saw each one of us. And he said, it is finished. My kids are now back being my kids. I have inherited him again, and they are my kids. And so this is a 4-year-old, right, who knows nothing, proclaim the truth more than any of us who go to school, get degrees, cannot proclaim this truth. And so that's what I'm trying to tell you. You may be scandalized by the world, but it's actually innocence that will get you to see your dad. And so for my hopes today, in the light of the resurrection, I use the word light on purpose, that you see clearly. Because many people come to me, and they're just scandalized. They just want to know why this, why that, why God cares, why it's not moving, why bad things happen, why are people dying, why do I suck, why my mom is sick, why is my dad sick, why is my grandma sick, why is this person that I like doesn't like me back, why is this job not accepting me, why is the job I worked for so hard for is firing me, why is the school that, why, versus knowing like, one thing is like, oh, I do matter. Because again, he says, in this world, they're not going to understand you. So my hopes for today, in the light of the resurrection, if you want to walk out that door and feel like your life is a little different, is that you understand that you'll not find him in the standards out there, you'll find him in your heart, having a willing heart to see him. This is why, even as a priest, my whole life, I did not even envision looking at the crucifixion to see Christ staring at us. But a 4-year-old saw it. That tells me what I think I know, I actually don't know. Right? And so for us then to say, this is actually humbles us, to say, you know what? There's a lot out there I do not know. But one thing I do know, because you're here, that Dad cares. Cares to the point of creating me specifically, giving me my specific gifts, and wants something from me specifically. That's the one thing I want you guys to walk out this door. Like, someone out there, a being, cares for you. I often use this again with people, especially the high school kids, because they get excited. I'm like, imagine I can prove to you that Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk, one of them is your like uncle or something, and you're entitled to a percentage of his money. Like, he's like, oh, heck yeah. Like, they get excited. Why? Because he's a billionaire. You get a lot of money. I'm like, well, for Christians, this is the same exact thing. He's your dad. You're inherited by him. You're adopted by him. He's actually very majestic. He's actually we can't use words to describe him because we're using tangible things to understand God. He's untangible. He's intangible. So, like, why are you not excited as if I told you, because many of you guys would be very happy going home tonight telling you that I can prove to you that you're Elon Musk's grandchild or whatever, or uncle, or he's your uncle, and you're entitled to his money. Everyone, including myself, driving very excited. Loans are paid off. I'm flying to Hawaii. I'm doing whatever. You'll be very excited. This is the light of the resurrection. This is why we do all this. Not because we're bored and we want to look like terrorists, right? Right? We now just want to wear black dresses. We're bored. We just come here for fun. No, because this means something, right? I know, just because we're just everyone in Spectrum. Everyone kept staring at me like, "What's here?" So we're here for a reason. We're here because this means something. The light means something, right? This means something. And so for you, what does that mean for you personally? Because if you're excited, I can prove to you that Jeff Bezos is your uncle. How come you're not excited? I tell you, Dad created you specifically with specific reasons and wants you specifically. Why are we hung up on small things? Right? Again, pray that scenario with me. Jeff Bezos is your uncle. You're going to be like, Abuna, but I have this electric bill, or I have this like credit card bill, I have this debt from school debt. You're not going to say that because you can conceptualize numbers, and you know that his numbers are bigger than your numbers, and so therefore his numbers consumes your numbers, and therefore you're debt-free. I want you to reach the same conclusion with Christ, with God. This is what helped me kind of come back to the faith, that he is who he says he is. I may not know him fully, but he wants me for some reason. That's kind of like, that's what I'm saying. Like, remember I told you I have dad issues? That's why I was like, why you care what I do with my life? Because my life kept running into a dead end, and now you can see why. And I'm like, what do you want from, like, what is it that you want? And he's like, I want you. And so same exact thing. Maybe in your life, he's actually intervening in a way because he wants you. He wants your attention. But we're like, but yeah, I have a bill. He consumes your problems. He consumes your problems. And therefore your problems are no problem. And so this is why I found people have a hard time reaching the light of the resurrection. It's because the light doesn't shine in their mind because their mind's closed off. They don't see the truth. They see their own personal truth. They only see their confirmation bias. We were talking about that last week. They see only what they want to see, right? They only see what they want to see. And so for us, this is important to know two things. What are the two things? Who he is to you and who you are to him. And so this is done with finesse. And with all due respect to all of you, you guys are very smart. You cannot do it on your own. If you do it on your own, this is what happened with the problem with Adam and Eve. They isolated themselves, right? To go back to that story. They isolated themselves from one another and from God, and they start finessing, right? If you ever read the Genesis, Adam and Eve started like making up words about what God said, start finessing, versus doing one simple thing. What should Adam and Eve have done? God, because they were walking with God. This thing says this. Is it right or wrong? Simple. Engage the Trinity. Guidance. And so this is why in your life, for those who are professionals and those who are in schools, this is why they tell you need an advisor, you need a mentor, you need like a big at school, at work. You know, when you get hired at a job, they usually give you someone to kind of like show you the way. If we do it in our professional life, you have to do it in your spiritual life. You have to do it in your actual life. Remember, there's no separation. Actual life. You need someone who understands life. Not because we're smarter, and not that because your servant is smarter than you. Simply, they have dedicated their life to understand the truth. We are janitors. Sorry, we're janitors, right? And you guys are God's children. We're the hired help, right? So you guys are the children, you guys are the heirs, we're the hired help. So imagine you have butlers, you're going to use them. So use them. I'm degrading, huh? Butler Ahsan, okay. I'm degrading you a little bit. Butler, I'll give you butler. I'll be the janitor. So you're going to use them. So this is why you need a spiritual guide in your life. Without a spiritual guide, you're trusting your own psychology, you're trusting your own thoughts. And I was a therapist before the priesthood. I thought I was a pretty good therapist, to be honest with you. That's the one thing I can do right in my life, is analyze people and talk to them. And I only went to school for 2.5 years and did it professionally for 10 years. And I was decent at it. I can sit with you and kind of can help you reach the problem quickly. And I'm just a simple person. Imagine the devil who's been watching humanity since the beginning of time. He has data. He has data on every single person. So if you think you're going to trust your own psychology against the devil, he's going to whisper lies in your ears. He's going to manipulate people around you to whisper lies in your ears, and he's going to pull you away. This is why we need what? Guidance. And so this is the light of the resurrection. Light meaning you need someone to shine light. Like imagine you're looking for something and all your friends help you by turning on their flashlight and helping you. You need this. You need a community. This is beautiful. You need a community, but you also need someone you open your inner insecurities to. Do not be ashamed of anything. Open up everything. Let Abuna, or someone you trust, know all the crevices of your crazy life. Everything. I have said things in my Father confession I never thought I'd ever say to anyone out loud, because he needs to know me personally, if he's going to help me reach my dad. And so this is the importance. If Adam and Eve just simply said, Dad, this thing is telling us to do this. Is this true? Dad was simply reminded them a few verses ago, well, you know what? Command the serpent to speak to you about the truth. I like to meditate. I'm not saying this will happen. I like to meditate that God would have told them, you know what? You have power. Command the serpent to say the truth. How do we know we have power over serpents like that? We have the picture of Saint Marina. Yeah, right? That's Saint Marina, right? Saint Marina, you know the picture that we all were, that movie used to freak me out as a little kid. Like she's holding the devil by the horn, right? And she's commanding him to tell her how he tricks humanity, right? She said, I'm afraid, it's like most of us are afraid of the dark, I'm afraid of the dark. Like she's holding the devil by the horn, right? Tell him, speak to me, tell me how you're tricking people. And he what? He told her the truth because she has authority over him and she knows this. We also see this with Saint Kyrillos. We see with a lot of people who command the devil. And so for us, you have the same exact power. Don't try it yet, but just you have the same exact power. You just have to understand how to tap into it. And you need this with what? Guidance. Because without guidance, I'll be honest with you, it's an anomaly. You're going to be tricked. You're going to just naturally go towards your biased ways, right? Like I told you, I like to think I'm a good therapist, right? I like to think I'm a whatever priest. If you go talk to my wife, she's like, I don't trust him, he's biased, right? Because that's my wife. She's like, I don't care if you're a priest or a therapist. I'm not, like we have our Father confession that comes in between us and helps us solve things. We don't, because she's like, yeah, you're a priest and you're all this, but I'm your wife. You're biased because I'm emotionally involved. Same exact thing for you. You're emotionally involved in your life. You cannot guide your own life. You need someone to help you guide your life. This is the light of the resurrection. This is why he told them, go, confess to one another, be with one another. Christ told the apostles, baptize them, create communities, create churches that will help one another. This is the point of the resurrection. This is the point of the white. This is the point of coming in and saying, Christos Anisti, saying, yo, whatever the problem is outside these doors, no worries, Dad is here, Dad resurrected, we're good, let's help each other. This is the point of the resurrection. Otherwise, again, if you're trusting your own thoughts, you'll be drifting away. You don't know the truth. And those who have been given to you to administer to the truth, you're not using them. You're just coming up, like the devil was telling you, the lies like he told Eve, don't go to Buna. The Buna's going to think you're funny. The Buna's going to think you're a sinner. The Buna's going to judge you. You can't say this to Buna. This is weird. No one says this stuff. No one does these things, and you do them. And let alone everyone, we all have the same sins. We all have the same struggles. There's just different colors. But he likes to isolate. And the reason why he does that, because there's one thing I was taught by my father confession through St. Anthony the Great, right, is that the devil cannot mimic one thing, humility. He can mimic patience. He can mimic good things. He can mimic pride. He can mimic goodness in so many ways, the right-hand war. One thing he cannot mimic is humility, because it requires a repentant heart. And so this is why the sacrament of confession is very important, not because we want to know your secrets, right? It's because you are engaging in an act of humility. You're saying, I'm going to go and expose myself to someone I trust to hold me accountable. It's an act of humility. This is why the devil works really hard to kill the meaning and the sacrament of confession. It's one of the things he goes after, because he wants to isolate it. He wants you alone, because when you're alone, he's like, perfect. He's implementing thoughts. You think they're your own thoughts. You think you're independent, but he's not. He's just implementing thoughts. And this is the issue, right? This is the issue with humanity today, that we just think we know more than we actually know, and we act on things that we don't actually know we were acting on. And then when things go wrong, what do? Blame the big guy, right? And then get into our own self-pity, get into pride. Woe is me, life sucks, right? I hate my life. And then don't do anything about it. Versus saying, okay, something went wrong. Let me seek the truth. Let me seek guidance. Let me seek help. What do I need to do? What does it mean? Does this actually taint? Again, remember, Eve could easily ask, said, wait, God, I thought I was just like you. He's telling me I'll be like you. Ask. Come, Abuna, I did this. Does that mean I'm like corrupted forever? Or what does this mean? Have the truth speak for you. And so this is the light of the resurrection. I say light, I keep saying light. I know I'm being really annoying. The word light of the resurrection, light does what? It clears, it shines, right? Light sees where you're going, helps you see where you're going. Otherwise, in darkness, we're all bumping each other. Even though you may know this church really well, like for those who grew up in this church or who come to this church often, you may know the church really well. If I make it pitch black in here, I can guarantee you hitting one of the chairs. It's still dark. And so this is why the devil likes darkness. Because in darkness, he's in control. He's like, come here. No, come there. And then you fall. He's like, oh, you fell. Look. And then he points at you. Because the devil's not loyal. He's going to whisper, whisper, whisper. You're going to fall. He's going to expose you. Right? Look, you fell. Now you can't go back. Right? And so this is the reality of the truth. Light of the resurrection. This is why we say, oh, death, where's your sting? Or like, and sin, where's your victory? Where's your sting? Where's your victory? Because obviously Christ being perfect dad, right? Dad died, but he didn't. And all of a sudden we have light. So what is this problem? No, it doesn't exist. So this is how you should conduct yourself today. Again, you see, I didn't mention one practical thing for you to do. Go read your Bibles. These are good things. These are beautiful things. But without understanding why you're doing them, I'll be honest with you, you're just like doing it for the sake of doing it. Who is he to you and who you are to him? These are the most important questions to understand. And I helped you see a little bit, hopefully, how you can answer those questions in your own personal life. But once you start answering it, you need someone to walk your journey. You need someone with you on your journey. You cannot do it alone. If you do it alone, you'll be swept away. You'll trust your own thoughts. You'll trust your own insecurities. You'll trust your own anxieties. And little by little, you get swept away. It's one of the biggest teachings in the Orthodox Church is discipleship, is having like one another to help one another and having one Papa Bear that leads the community, right? See, you're a Papa Bear now, not a butler, right? Leading the community to serve the community. This is what you need. Otherwise, I warn this because I know, the reason I'm emphasizing this because I know this is the generation that we think we know more than we actually know, and we're very arrogant, including myself, we're very arrogant. I don't need anyone to tell me what to do with my life. I'll do me, I'll take care of me. Everyone's opinion matters. Everyone thinks their opinion is number one. We have social media, as you can see in our world, in our politics. Everyone thinks they matter. What they say is going to matter. And no one's asking, hey, what do you think? No one's asking for assistance or guidance. Everyone's just speaking. And this is where we have the mess and the chaos. So hopefully, I was able to kind of shine light a little bit on what the resurrection means for you today. And I hope you're able to bring it forth into your personal life and kind of go from there. I'm not sure how long. How long's I got time? Is it an hour? Not sure? You can tell me. I ask him. I speak a lot. I can't. I'll blabber. Anyways, so that's all I had left. But if you have questions, comments, concerns, tomatoes to throw, annoyances.
Questions for Abuna?
Cool. Thank God. No questions. All right. Thank you for having me. Sorry I went off. But I'm just crazy. All right. Wait for me.
No, hang on. First, No. No questions whatsoever? Zero? There we go. That's what I thought.
Well, it's just a general question. Where do you serve? Like, what church are you coming from?
In the middle of nowhere.
Okay.
We're next to Corona.
Okay.
Norco is actually a country. It's like a town.
Oh, okay.
I actually grew up with Mary and Martha.
Very cool.
But yeah, Northern California, next to Riverside, Corona, Inland Empire area. That's where I'm at. Huh? North Corona. That's what Norco stands for, North Corona. Yeah, I'm sure you never heard of it. It's a crazy place. Huh?
I feel like I have questions, but they're not coming.
It's okay. Ask questions.
Anybody else questions? Abuna gave a killer one today. Come on, anybody else? Questions? Okay, I'll hit you with something else then. Usually when we're in meetings for those that come, we do takeaways if there's no questions. That's the punishment, right? Huh? No, I'm worse than you are. I'm terrible. All right, and no questions? We're going to do takeaways, and I'll pick on you. Let's see. Going once. Going twice. All right, takeaway.
One takeaway would be, like, during this time of joy and resurrection, we're able to really reflect and look forward to the resurrection of the dead, as we say in every liturgy, and to always keep that as something that we show towards other people, to shine that light that everyone was talking about.
All right. Next victim. Next victim. Takeaway.
So we need like a spiritual guide, for our lives and stuff, and like that the devil can mimic like everything good in our lives except humility. Yeah.
Rock on. Thank you. That's great. All right, and then all the guys decided to sit in the back like a bunch of clowns. This is good.
Ask yourself the question, who is God to you, and see if you can also reciprocate that relationship.
Everybody looks down.
One of his greatest tactics is isolating you. One of the devil's greatest tactics is isolating you.
All right. Thank you, guys. This is why people don't come back to the meeting. I gave you a good idea. It's sympathetic.
Just
Pray
conclude.
for us.
Yeah. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and Heavenly King, we ask you to watch over us, help us, guide us, strengthen us. We ask you, Lord, to open our hearts, open our eyes, help us see you in our lives, help us see why we're here today, why we're gathered, how we live our life according to your mercy, according to